Today, we will be looking at the list of our SR speed cards, and I will be giving the tier list for these cards and explain alongside with it what each card is good and used for. Just a big disclaimer before we start the video, I will assume that the LB for early cards are at MLB to make it simpler, as comparing different LBs of the card is not fair. Let's say even 3 LB Sweep Tosho will lose to an Ancient Flash that is MLB because it will miss out on the SP bonus. Let's start off with the speed card. I'll divide the tier list into this. Yes, there is no bad SR speed card. All of the SR speed cards are viable, and it will stay that way. They even perform better than low LB SSR card. Here is an example of the comparison of the best SSR speed card at 0 LB versus the MOB SR speed cards. With Pico, sure, you get 15% training effectiveness, but missing on the speed bonus and initial friendship gauge is too much to be better than using SR speed cards. And another example with Bakushin, you can simply start out see how bad the card is at 0 LB, you get no speed bonus, no training effectiveness, it's just GG. Alright, let's now dive deeper into each card and their usage. Swift Tosho is always the best speed card simply because it gives you SP bonus when training together. It just helps you get more skills at the end of the career. It also has 50 specialty priority and 10% training effectiveness, which is the highest among the SR speed cards. In general, this is the best SR speed card that just simply works in every deck. Another reason this card is really strong is the charming effect. Have you ever noticed that if you get the charming effect at the start of the career, you are basically almost guaranteed a high roll run? Yes, this is simply because it boosts your friendship gauge to orange faster, and it also lets you hit those rainbow training sooner. It's not rocket science, but that's probably the best feature of this card. The next card on the list is Asian Flash. This card is simply a late surger SR speed card. If I run a late surger, I always prefer to run this card on my speed card slot even over Sweep Tosho. Stats wise, this card has everything you want: decent specialty priority, decent training effectiveness, and effects overall. But what's really strong is this part right here: hint level and hint frequency. This card hint is super good for late surger, mainly the late surger straightaways and late surger corners. One more thing that I love from this card is that this card is an energy dispenser card. In a scenario like Unity Cup where you exhaust so much energy, this card got your back. On the first event chain, it gives you 4 max energy, 10 energy, and a mood up. And on the second event chain, this card gives you 20 energy. One of her random events also gives you back 15 energy as well. I cannot say how much I love this card, even compared to Swift Dojo, just due to the fact that it gives you so much energy. If it is possible or you have ever tried this deck on Late Surger, this deck is super insane. Almost every chain event can give you back energy. Dober chain event will give you back a lot of energy, Nice Nature will also give you back a lot of energy, and the fact that you are running a wit maxing deck makes you almost never press the rest button. So yeah, try this deck if you can, and if you are running a Late Surger, it's really a nice deck. The next card is Narita Taishin. This card is an encloser SR speed card. The only time I will run this speed card is if I'm running an encloser for the encloser hints. If we take a look at the effects of this card, it is actually very similar to Sweep Tosho, but instead of skill point bonus, we get a speed bonus. The only reason I don't really like this card is it has the lowest specialty priority out of all the cards. Have you ever had so many trainings in a row where your Kito-san never appears on the speed training even with 100 specialty priority? Yes, Naruto Taishin only have 20 specialty priority, making it worse. Out of all the speed cards, I would stay away from using this unless you run it in closer. There's really no reason to use this card. The next card is King Hollow. I personally love this card when I need to bump up a little bit power on my Uma. This card has speed and power bonus. It is probably the second best generalist speed card just below Sweep Tosho. I usually use this card as my third speed card for my page chaser if I really need it and I don't want to slot in another power card. This card also has the highest specialty priority with 60 specialty priority and just really solid effect overall. Although I must say one thing I hate about this card is that it doesn't have race bonus. So I must compensate the race bonus on my other cards like on the with cards. And if they don't have high race bonus, then I will not hit the 35% race bonus. The other major downside from this card is the chain event. This card has a really bad chain event. The choice is negative 20 energy for stat or getting a mood down for 25 cuts. Both of these choice is really bad and they are a negative net gain for your career. Lastly, the newest card, Shinko Windy. I personally only have this card at 0 LB, so I can't really say a lot for myself on the card itself. What this card offers is just really 10% raise bonus. This card will be really good in the make a new track scenario, but for the other scenario like the URA and Unity Cup, I feel like this card just doesn't offer as much as the other cards. The skill hints from this card is pretty good. Actually, it gives you a ton of skill points from the event chain, and the random event chain also gives you even more skill points. So yeah, this speed card is a mechanic track speed card, but I'm not even sure if you will be running this card because in the mechanic track deck, it will be 1 speed, 3 guts, and 2 wit, and we will be fitting Kitasan speed card anyway, so I'm not sure if this card will even have a slot in there. Let's now talk about when to use each of these SR speed card. In most deck, you can only fit 1 or 2 SR speed card because the other last speed card slot will always be Kitasan Black. Now, personally, I just always run Sweep Tosho over every other speed card unless I'm running a late surger. Sweep Tosho just clears every other SR speed card in every aspect. The best part is the charming and SP bonus feature. Even though it's missing the speed bonus, it has 10% training effectiveness to cover you back for that. This means every training that Tosho lands on is always 10% training boosted and 1 more skill points per training. If I'm running a late surger, Asian Flash is always a must, and I think this card just tops Sweep Tosho even on the late surger decks. The late surger hints and the energy and the mood on the event chain is just too nice to pass on. I really like this card specifically on the Unity scenario because it just helps a lot with the energy management. I don't really run King Halo in my deck, even though it is a pretty good speed card. This card is basically a side grade generalist card to sweep Tosho. It is good for when you want to fit in a third speed card and you want a little bit of that power bonus to hit higher power, and you just simply do not want to run a power card. For Narita Taishin, this card is only used when you train an encloser, that's basically Gold Ship. I only use this card when training Gold Ship and nothing else. This card doesn't benefit a lot outside of the encloser hints it provides. Again, Swift Tosho just clears this card easily because of the SP gain. Funnily enough, I think on some runs, I don't even run this card on my gold chip and just use Sweep Tosho instead. Because the only thing you get from this card is one end closer corner hit, and you might not even hit it. With Unity Cup as well, you can simply just get other speed skill from the Spirit Bombs. So the SP bonus from Sweep Tosho is way nicer because it lets you pick up more of these speed skills. As for Shinko Windy, I think there's really no real use case for this card yet until the make an interact scenario because the strongest effect that this card provides is its 10% raise bonus. Okay, I want to talk a little bit more about the LB card difference because this video was made with the assumption that all the cards are MOB. Some people might be newer to the game and they only have a certain speed card at MOB and not all of them at MOB. And they might be confused if it's worth it, for example, to run 2 LB Sweep Tosho over MLB Asian Flash, for example. The easy way to see this is any MLB SR speed card is always better than non-MLB SR speed card. This is just simply from the fact that MLB SR cards get a speed bonus. You might think that one speed bonus doesn't really make a huge difference, but trust me, it's a game changer in hitting 1200 speed. I've also experienced in the past using non-MLB SR speed cards and it sucks a lot. I'm not kidding. It's so hard to hit 1200 on speed, especially if you run an Uma that doesn't have speed boost, for example, Gold Chip. That's why you see a lot of people with non-MLB SR speed card needs to run like 4 speed cards to cap the speed. So even your MLB Narita Taishin will be better than non-MLB SR cards, and it's just that simple. If you are a beginner and you are confused which SR speed cards in your deck list is better, always go for the MLB cards. If you don't have any SR speed cards on MLB, this is just a tip from me, but I hope you spend your LB crystal on them because it just makes your life a lot easier in hitting 1200 speeds on your career run. And as they say, no 1200 on speed, your Uma is cool. Anyway, that is all for this video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.